My name is Clay Clark. I'm America's most pale man, and I happen to be the CEO of Thrive15.com. Today we are joined by the NBA Hall of Famer, two-time gold medal winning Hall of Fame basketball player David Robinson. And today he's going to be teaching us a little bit about specifically how to overcome adversity. He's going to be teaching us about George Washington Carver's miraculous story of how he went from a boy that was raised in slavery to becoming one of America's most successful and most history-altering people. It's going to be a phenomenal training. You're going to learn a lot from David, learn a lot about George Washington Carver, and I promise that today's episode is going to bless you and encourage you and help you be the person you were called to be. Remember, at Thrive15.com, we believe that knowledge without application is meaningless. So as you're watching today's episode, go ahead and take the time needed to ask yourself, what do you need to do to apply these principles in your own life and business? Otherwise, my friend, today's episode may just be more meaningless than that Olympic winter sport we all love so much, curling. David Robinson, how are you, sir?
I'm fantastic, thanks, Clay.
Hey, you're going to the playoffs tonight.
I will be going to watch my San Antonio Spurs win again.
Big predictions. It's win. Are you going to win the championship this year? Is it going to happen, you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could see that far ahead, but we certainly have the best chance out of any of those teams to win.
Okay, awesome. Well, we are talking about the George Washington Carver story, and specifically kind of how he overcame adversity. When you retired from the NBA, you started a school that you funded with nearly $10 million of your own money, and then you chose to name the school after George Washington Carver. Obviously, you thought something magical about this person, or you had an affection for his legacy, or you had an admiration for him because you named your school after him. But why did you name your school after George Washington Carver?
Well, I was prompted really by down in the inner city there in San Antonio is the Carver Cultural Center. And it's been a part of this community for about 75 years. And it was really, it was a great reminder of the importance of George Washington Carver to not just our community, but this great nation we live in. And so Carver had always been an inspiration to me growing up, and I felt like we needed to promote what this wonderful man had done in helping people, especially people of color, as they were coming out of slavery. Helping them to gain lives that could not only involve good jobs, but education as well.
And so you felt strongly enough about this that you didn't name the school after yourself.
Yeah, that would have been put like a weight on the kids' shoulders.
Okay.
It'd have been like dragging around a ball. No. I feel like my life is still a work in progress, and I'm very excited about the things that I can possibly accomplish in my lifetime, but George Washington Carver is a proven commodity, and I'm more than happy to give the kids his legacy. When
did you first become fascinated with his life? Do you remember when you first heard about his life story, or was it sort of just...
When I was a kid, we studied a little bit about him, and we got just bits and pieces of some of the things that he was able to accomplish, and we always knew him as kind of the peanut man. Okay. But I think as a kid, I really didn't know all the things that he was able to do, and then when we came down and we met at the Carver Cultural Center, I sat down and really looked at this man. I looked at his life. I started reading books. I started reading a book full of his letters that he wrote, and it just blew my mind. The impact that he was able to have given his beginnings. And I thought, what a great example I can give to these kids who may not have had the best circumstances. Their father may not have been home, or may have been in prison, or they were raised by their grandparents, or they live in a neighborhood where everything seems to be going against them. No one's encouraging them to do well in academics. That's a tough situation. But here's a guy who grew up in slavery, and who had no resources, and who was able to overcome that and become such a prominent figure in our history. What a great example to give to the kids and say, don't tell me you have less than this guy. Don't tell me your situation was worse than this guy. You can do what he did.